It was sort of highlighted there on the desk a little bit where they said it's a Russian team that develops strategies, which isn't the most common play, but NAVI, regardless of the roster, has always tried to bring a little bit of that game to pretty much any map. They like to develop things, and Club was one of those maps.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, it is a stronghold map for Navi, and Outsiders, they did permaban this map through stage 1 as well. So that's one thing you've got to consider. It's not that just the Outsiders played it against BDS, because they did play against BDS on Playday 1. They nearly beat BDS on it, fair enough, but they did permaban it through stage 1, so it's a map that they don't particularly like. Whereas I look at my map preferences, and I see this map in the top 3 for Navi's map preferences, and I do start to worry when I start seeing trends like that appear.
Now, the pretty standard removals here. Maverick gone. The Thatcher is on the board. They have that for the approach, but to be honest, we've seen a lot of scrappy fight here. And, okay, for the votes and for people that have followed, it's been a couple of playdays so far. There's a reason that a lot of the sort of sway has gone away from Navi, because Navi's win came on the first Playday against Secret, who then obviously struggled against Outsiders. Navi were kind of dispatched kind of wholehandedly by Pwns.
Yeah, I think that game against Secret made Navi look like absolute well-beaters, just with how poorly Secret played. And then obviously Navi go up against a quote-unquote good team in Wolves and really did get dispatched, as you do say. So we don't really know where Navi is at, is what I would say about this. We don't know whether they're going to be great. We don't know if they're gonna struggle. So it's kind of, they're the biggest question mark team in my mind. And I'm hoping this performance, we really see what Navi are like against a good opposition, an opposition that would be in a similar boat for them, kind of mid-table, fighting for that top 4.
Well, talking of top floor is where we're going to find ourselves starting here on the gym side. It's not the most common lead-in, but it's sort of growing in a bit of preference for a lot of these teams. Obviously, you still have your off and extension towards the top of red. You'll give yourself a bit of swing control and potentially some cover around logistics. There, the rotation options isn't the most common that's being played, but there it is, the standard setup. And you'll try and see Outsiders get potentially a bit of control over construction, stop the rotates, and try and isolate half of this top floor.
Yeah, when Outsiders played this against BDS, they kind of did I'll keep calling it a poke strategy, and what I mean by poke strategy, just quickly to clarify, is kind of breach a couple of walls but don't really take too much map control. They went from both sides. They used the breach on the CCTV wall to try and hold off the peek onto the windows, and then they went and breached Jacuzzi wall and didn't really push too far in. It was a very split approach. And for Navi, if you're comfortable kind of just being pressured into the middle of the site yourselves, and you can just sit and wait for Outsiders to force to push in late, that's where that key win condition will come for Navi.
Some control over the space here, and as I said, it's a very quick early isolation. They try and make sure that, well, if anyone gets funneled, the fun is going to stop very quickly here, opening themselves some pressure, some width, and some other angles to then just try and pick apart the players that are otherwise postured around red, around the CCTV cache side. Talking of, smash their way into the standard broach and breach. They're going to see if they can try and swing and swivel their way around over to the hard top. A good roll all the way. Oh, that's practiced.
Yeah, that's a really good game knowledge, really good practice, as we see Skiddy find the first peek onto Pasha, punches a hole with that robotic arm into Garage and gets a peek onto the windows, proving that you don't just have to play the CCTV window to find that kill. And that, I've got to say, is advantage to Navi in this one so far.
All right, minute 30 now, and they're going to see if they can try and put the pressure down towards the site directly. They have Rask, and they have themselves stacked up, but they don't have the route through. There it is. A little bit of a use of those new knives that are going to give Yak a bit of protection here. He's playing against FMX, and he's played a blinder. Instantly caught that one out. They're down to just one exothermic. Nath is offering all the cover he can around the gym windows and keeping them under a high bit of pressure, but without a way through, well, they're just kind of locked in and stocked up. Great take from Russ. Takes the head off of Nath and is hoping to try and force some of the players to go for a rotate. They're going to leave Yak working and busying away, holding off FMX. The pass of the minute, and still with the bandit charge in pocket, you're seeing now an exothermic is gone. The breach and the broach may be that swing of pressure, and as the drones start to roll through, you can see Navi's trying to just get a handle on this.
That was excellent use of team play between Yak and Nath, being able to get that bandit trick off. But we'll see it again. Outsiders, they're not really taking map control, and they found 2 kills from defenders that want to peek them.
Wow, this is going to be that fight that they just sort of handed. Skiddy looking the wrong way, caught out. Thunder, he's going to try and drive his way closer. Yak gets one and just runs straight into the guns of Milon there. Yak, he's doing everything to try and hold on to this round here. He's able to find one more. There's another step up. There's a triple, but Milan is there with the refrag over the door of Club and the top of the stairs. An opener here.
That 3K that came out from the Thatcher on the CCTV windows finds the one player peeking the bathroom double door, finds the one player in construction, and then finds just Skiddy just not even looking at him. And once again, it's another round, another attack won by Outsiders. And by the way, they are our best attacking team in the league so far. They have the best attacking win rate, but it's so many rounds just like that where the defenders, they just can't sit still. They have to be mobile, and Outsiders are probably the best opportunistic team at capitalizing on those kills. That's a round strategically Outsiders realistically for my mind shouldn't have won, but managed to win. NAVI, they're not even going to trust that they can make those small adaptations, and they're going to move straight away onto the Church Arsenal, onto the basement.
Now, as they find themselves with a little bit of a different adaptation, they're still going for what is the top-down hold. Skiddy is obviously that player that was called out quite early and was one of those pickups that you kind of wanted high expectations for, Jake.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. Skiddy had a really good first play day. Really good first play day, but I don't know if he also suffered from the curse that Secret were poor on the first play day, because he managed to get 4 or 5 kills just based upon the fact that Secret offered themselves up with mist drones on a plate to him, and then obviously he's had a rough one, but it's an introduction to Tier 1 Stage. You know, I think he is an exceptionally talented player, and I think he will do well inside of Tier 1 eventually, just needs to warm into it a little bit.
And now we find ourselves, Rask is taking care of a couple of tech issues on my end, but they should be sorted now, and I think I have game audio, which is a bit of a blessing.
Perfect.
I know, I can start to call things a little bit sharper here. The pressure over the middle of the floor here. There is an extension that they've played. Yak was obviously a little bit of the strike of the force early on, but it took more than just one man to be able to pull the whole plan together, and Nath is that extension onto the top. He did start with some support and some options, but outside of that, things then started to drift a little bit further away from the control of NAVI. Outsiders, they seemingly got themselves set up and then started to pick the bodies apart one at a time. And here, well, similar story. Once again, they're playing themselves onto those catches. They're trying to force the roam and the roamers down below towards where they're already set up and propped up. And to be fair, they've been pretty good at that on the previous round.
Yep, there is. He's going to play inside a bar and just try and lurk, waste time, shoot some drones, and then potentially fall back. Needs to be careful with his life, because NAVI, they are in man disadvantage. However, they can fall back. Nave's going to find a really nice shotgun kill there, and that will even up the man count. He can absolutely leave now, and NAVI can play this defense with a minute 30 to go. Looks like he's going to try and stay quite stubborn inside of Garage, choosing to go to that Harry Potter area, sit behind a drone and lurk out and look for some more kills. No, in the end, he will drop down, and I think wise decision there is Milan is lurking, looking to try and get that refrag.
Well, that's the important part here, is that refrag game, is that control of the space, as we've already obviously seen blow for blow, and it's actually kind of better than how Navi's luck worked out on the first round here. If they can try and keep some of that control, well, we're still hitting that minute mark, and now we're going to see if we can start hitting the ballasts of the site itself. The stretch comes across here. They've got some of those down, and they've got a sledge working away. There is at least still a C4 and an impact in the pockets, and apparently a very sturdy bit of floor. A very sturdy bit of floor.
Oh.
That's new.
Yeah, that's new. That's pretty unfortunate there for Rask. And what I will say is that Outsiders, they did go for a church-based approach the last 3 times they attacked this against BDS, and that's why you're seeing those walls open and this complete utility set up from NAVI facing the bottom main and facing the church walls in that side.
Well, here comes a bit of the explosives, and here comes a bit of that pressure around on the opposite side. FMX is going to see if he can get pipes open. Rask is going for the drone out. Thunder has no idea he's been caught out here, but a swing comes around on the far side. Blue actually keeps him a little bit safer at this point. Impacts, rolls, and flashes over towards that shield. They're trying to get something caught on the player as they drop the shield itself, but now they've tucked themselves in, and Yak's tucked one out. FMX finds Thunder, finds that kill, and finds themselves tucked into a corner. He's all that is left. A handful of seconds, a spray, and a bit of a blinder there. 1 versus 2. He's down to a pistol and no time. NAVI just pull that one out of the bag.
And I don't want to be that guy, but NAVI have tested the execute of Outsiders finally. They got that equal man count once Nath had got that kill back, got himself back to the basement, got himself back to site, and they tested Outsiders execute that came in, by the way, with just 10 seconds to go. They managed to test that execute, and God forbid, they got a round win because they weren't too active on their feet as the defenders. They just sat in the power positions, waited, and used time as that last man on their team, and they got the round win. That's a good sign for them. If they realise that throughout the next couple of rounds, they could really start snowballing these rounds into 2, 3, 4 rounds on the defensive clubhouse.
Okay, now how do we go from here? Because to be fair, there was some things that didn't quite connect with Outsider's approach there, and it's those things that you sort of have to get your way past. Navi have been offered, I think, a bit of a gift there, and Milan's going to see if he can reply with a gift of his own. The bringing of the Fuse instead of the Hibana that's been the pick over the past couple of rounds. They've still obviously got the chance at that hard breach, and they potentially have the hard breach charges in the pocket as well to try and bring just a little bit more and just a little bit extra of that width. They've been very good with the approaches so far. There it is, 2 in the pocket of Fuse.
The curious thing about the Fuse is it was directly for the bandit trick. They played this against BDS, and Elems was actually sitting under a Fuse charge going off, trying to bandit trick the Thermite. So in terms of Outsiders, they don't want to invest a lot of utility into going into Lounge or anything like that to try and get this breach off against the bandit. They want to just use the Thatcher, Fuse, Thermite combination and all of that utility at once to try and get this breach off. You'll see Milan, he's going to be ready on the rappel. The Thatcher MP, it will come in very shortly, and the Fuse charge will start going off, which means somebody's going to have to shoot it as the bandit trick is going off. Yak's going to stick this bandit trick with his life, and I think somebody has shot the Fuse charge for him. You can hear the timer going off just about, and that is nice from Navi. They got rid of the Fuse. What they didn't anticipate was that Pasha was also going to go below and throw a nade in, and that will be Yak off the board.
Yeah, that was full sail ahead there from the side of Outsiders. They made sure they were getting underneath with the pressure. He was dedicated, Yak. He's been playing that game before, and when the Thatcher's on the board, it's not the easiest to play. You need a lot, and especially with the Fuse as well, really trying to isolate that player, the bandit. The grenade was that one extra step a little bit too far. Now, they've got themselves open, they've got themselves that little bit of width, and they've got the breach put together too. They still have one hard breach charge, but they've actually been able to find themselves soft on the other side, so that might find its way down towards the connector between construction and the site itself. There's pressure and drones that's being applied with the man advantage, and it being the man of the moment so far for Navi. They know they have a lot here to work with and keep this pace in their favor.
To compare and contrast, previously when Outsiders attacked this against BDS, they went for the garage side and went for a traditional push. This time they're choosing to push through master bedroom and construction, using a lot of utility and a lot of manpower over on that side. It's going to be the hard breach gadgets. They're trying to open up as many walls as they can. Blair will attempt the impact trick but won't get it off. Blair's going to be under fire from 2 or 3 people here, and he's got to keep his cool.
Oh, it's such a dangerous place to be in, and he's realized that very quickly, finds his way out there. The grenades are trying to roll their way over the top. The first burns the ADS, the second but also burns the ADS. Thunder, he's able to keep himself standing there, and not for very long. There's Smash, there's a run, and there's a break on the breach itself, and now suddenly Natus trying to do everything to hold on. They've got the hop in on the window inside, and there's the kick cold. A 3 versus 2 versus 2. Skitty digging in over the top of Red as well. The split hold here between the two of them has worked wonders. The important kill came on the player on the breach itself, the Fuse. Milan, he's had to rotate over instead of trying to bust his way through the arena gate and taking the damage. Instead, he's going to see if he can get a bit of a wider swing here. 20 seconds, not very far. Nath is able to put half of that down. Skitty gets the other. There's just one player left, but not for very long. Navi, on the back of 2 players, clutches that one out.
That was an excellent power positions play by Navi. Obviously, Smash had walked in from the breach and found a double kill. And he does make those plays. He made a couple of those plays against BDS. However, and somebody from Navi needs to take ownership of that breach. When you're in that scenario, you're talking about, I've got the door, I've got the construction breach, I've got the window, I've got the CCTV breach, right? Somebody didn't from Navi take control of that breach and take ownership of it. It should have been one of the players that was at top red. They let go of it and the double kill ensues. And then you're thinking, oh my God, this is a 4v2, this is a 5v2. And then suddenly they pull it out of the bag by holding the top red and that garage. Perfect cross, well, not perfect crossfires, but just holding the exact locations they're supposed to hold and having great composure on the side of Navi. I was really impressed with them in terms of the composure, but letting go of that breach in a crucial moment, not so much so.
Navi, they're clutching on, but to be honest, it was a well put together last little bit of power positions. It's a team that always has that opportunity. It's a team that has that underneath what has been some rocky openings towards some of this. But to be fair, if they can try and surmount this team, okay, they've still got a lot ahead of them. But when you're around this sort of 4th, 5th position and you're able to take the team out above you, it's a journey of 1,000 miles, Jack. And it starts with but a single Russian team.
Yeah, it literally does. And I think they've got a good grip on them now. I think that's a couple of rounds, of 3 rounds that Navi have seen as to how outsiders attack, and I will keep saying it, is that they are very, very slow. For all they have been good, they are very, very slow, so I'm liking this pick of Baron stage as well. Throw them off a little bit, force them to actually come into the map, force them to take a significant amount of map control to get close to site, and then test their execute late on in the round. You know, outsiders, they're probably going to take the first minute to start droning, to start figuring out where these Navi players are, another minute to take initial map control, and then have a slow execute. It looks like they're going to come across from the east side, which is generally what you will see teams do. You've got to take top floor control as attackers onto Baron stage, otherwise the defenders are going to have a great time of things holding the vertical back down onto the site.
A lot of suspicions for this player on the top floor. They know where he is roughly, but they don't know where he is directly. Skitty, in the meantime, is trying to eye up the fight onto Smash outside. He's not quite confident enough to take it by himself, but as long as he's here and wasting time, look at that utility stacked up here over the top of the red. They are making sure that this is staying in their favor. There's one worked on the back of the drone, looking for the second. That gun just keeps going. Nath is able to slip his way out. Pasha doesn't quite catch the tail of the fleeing player, but now they've broken their way in like a sledgehammer, smashed across the top floor, and they can try and isolate Skitty.
Interesting methodology from Nath there, not to stand his ground and fight and try and get that refrag. Normally you would see that, but I think actually it's probably the right approach for Navi. Try and be in at least a 4v5. If Skitty can find a 1, because he's got to play his life here, if he can find a 1 and then you're in a 4v4, it's even better from your point of view. It looks like Yak might be trying to support him. Maybe if we play C4 from below, as Skitty sees this shadow coming in, I'm not sure if Yak's just there for a C4 or whether he's just lurking.
I think that's the thing about the game that Skitty's playing right now, because he has huge amounts of utility. He has himself locked in, and you can see Milan inside Billiards. It's not the most common way to get themselves stuck in. You'll see most teams trying to approach from the other side, but if it's an unknown entity, if it's a single player that's causing problems on the back end of this, that could be a big ask. You can see they're trying to get the catch onto the top floor, and Nath is able to find one. Pasha, he swung his way back up and finally found the refrag from a while ago. Looks for the second from the 2-story, but as the smokes either side start to try and blind everything in the middle, they're looking for pings and any call on intel. There's the player underneath, they're aware of it, and 30 seconds. Outsiders, they need a little bit more room, a little bit more space to try and play and drive themselves through here. Milan into the bathroom, looking his way over towards the lobby set of stairs. You can see Smash is ready on the hatch above. You can see Rask is trying to angle himself to make sure no one rotates down from underneath. They're aware roughly where the players are. If they can just try and find a little pop in, well, this could be huge. Milan, look right. He shot his own player. They're still able to win it out. Smash then shot and got revenge on Milan. It's back onto the side of Navi. FMX sticks it. Stuck in the middle. Just sees the tail end of the player. Can't quite get the second. Oh, dear.
Oh, my days, my days, my days. And it's another round win by Navi. And like I say, I was really curious to how Nath just bolted out of top floor. He just cleared himself off top floor as soon as it was under control of outsiders. Outsiders, they had everything they needed within a minute to force an execute, and they took another 1 minute 45, and then utter confusion happened. You see in Milan shoot his own player as that player comes down the hatch, who gets a kill and instantly flicks back to Milan getting the team kill, and it's all gone a little bit wrong. Navi utilizing that key win condition of just staying alive, and outsiders, honestly, if they had 5 minutes every round to attack, I think they'd be the best team in the world, but they only have 3, and that's a big problem for them right now.
Yeah, they don't. They do not have 5 minutes, and apparently they don't have the clearest idea on blue. Bit of a tragic moment. I do like how it led to revenge, though. Yep. Because they swung to where they were being shot from, which makes sense, but...
He's just got the kill and flicked it, right? That's all he's done, and he's got a perfect headshot.
It's rocky, and it's tough. It's what we sort of talked about before, is sometimes when things go wrong a little bit outside, it becomes tricky to try and rewrite that. It's the whole thing, the conversation about momentum, that is always the word that's thrown around by pretty much everybody who talks about Rainbow Six. It is built on a lot of different factors, and sometimes that basis, it doesn't win you rounds, but it does occasionally cause mistakes, and Navi, once again, able to capitalize upon them.
Absolutely, and they're going to go for this extended roam back over on the bottom floor, on the basement of Church and Arsenal and Clubhouse. Nath is going to look for cheeky C4 kills, and basically all you want to do on your Navi, and especially now that you've seen this win condition, is waste as much time as you humanly can. Force the execute, test the execute, make them drone you out, and fall back. Take as much information away as you possibly can. Skitty will get the first drone there, and I want to say outsiders have been good on their drones. They've still got 9 on hand. They've still got a lot of information they can can utilize. But ooh, we're going to see a C4. Nave's had it prepped for about a year. He will throw the C4, and it will do almost full damage to Rask. Just about gets away with his life, but no finger on the board. He's going to have to live with that 10 HP for the whole round.
I mean, it's better than living without it.
Yeah, I agree.
Like that's that sort of thing, and you know, windfalls are windfalls, and things that get taken away from you at those risky points are dangerous. They are that sort of swing. They are that sort of close and miss. And well, let's see what Rask can do whilst he's at the danger of pretty much any of those impacts still left in the pocket. They'll be playing against the Sledge, who has a very dangerous job ahead of him.
Yep, and look how quickly Nath, after he tried the early play, got himself back down to sight. A true appreciation for the win condition. A minute 30's gone in the round. We've got 90 seconds left if we're outsiders to start this fair, and that's why you're seeing Rask just swinging his hammer at everything he can see right now. He does have to stay out of line of impacts, stay out of line of... There's no more C4s, luckily for him. He can't be killed by C4, but he can be killed by the impact.
Pretty much anything else he can
Pretty much anything else. One bullet, you know, even getting hit by a Wamite Magnet probably would do sufficient damage at this point.
Nate's tucked in on one corner. Skiddy's just going to pull himself over to the opposite, not quite removed. And, well, the ADSs would have been caught there by the grenade. He knows he cannot play that too aggressively, but with a minute on, he can still actually try and bring some space to this. The impact is ready for the trick. They're waiting for the catch. There it is. And, well, actually going to pull it back. Not going to see if they can try and stop the breach on the hatch. Instead, just give themselves that little bit of an angle here with the Azami. They've still got a basis, and they've still got some control of the space, and they're going to make sure that they can hold on to that as the breach starts to come across. The longest we've had all 10 players alive, but for how long?
Previously went for a church-sided push, and it looks like outsiders are going to go for a kitchen dirt side push. They've not got dirt control, however. Thunder's still playing in there, so they're going to look to drop the hatch by a few people here, and it's going to be absolute chaos that ensues when they do.
Wow, you can see they're all stacked up. They're trying to put stuns down towards the back line. Hope they can catch them out with anything else that gets thrown around the pocket. Thunder, he's dancing pre-firing, pulls away from the flash, tries to pop a smoke. The second canister goes down, 10 seconds, and they've got to make that move right now. Rask is at the danger still of being caught by anything, and now it's 5 seconds. They found their way around to the back of the kit, but so has the smoke canister. FMX with a bit of space and Smash, tearing his way up down the main corridor. Skiddy looks for revenge, and it's not to be found. NAVI, though, just stop the plant.
Keep testing the execute. Keep testing the execute. Keep testing the execute. It's what BDS should have done against outsiders. It's definitely what Secret should have done against outsiders. It's what NAVI are doing against outsiders. And I will say, Skiddy, NAVI, they're very fortunate to win the round, but there's only one place that the Thermite can be planting. Skiddy had a great appreciation for that. Managed to get the kill onto Smash, who was bottom main covering it. And then I think he's wallbanged where he expected the planter would be. Got the kill onto the planter, and that will be the round. Once again, it was clunky for NAVI, but the idea and the approach was absolutely correct, and they get their reward.
Well, the reward is still coming, and I think that's the thing here. If you're looking at this from a perspective of the time that NAVI is winning these rounds, it is truly in the final 15 seconds. Whether it's the 2 remaining players there or Skiddy being in the right place there, it is exactly what you're saying. It's the test of the hold. And that is something where I think you'll only really get the truest taste of when you start to watch back those individual movements made by the players at the 2-minute mark.
Yeah, and I think so. And, you know, you look back at the approach that, and I want to talk about the approach that Team Secret took last week against outsiders. Took exactly the same approach of setup to delay and delay and delay. And unfortunately for Team Secret, they couldn't help themselves but swing and go out of position. NAVI did that in the very first round, and they have learned so fast, so succinctly, not to do it. And there's been a very clear change of approach and dynamic from that first round in this game, and that's what snowballed them into 4 rounds. And they're fully in control of this. They're looking down the barrel of 5-1 defensive half on Clubhouse, which is a map that I suppose actually a lot of people these days would actually consider it quite an attacker-sided map. It used to be defensive, but I think it's now, given how checklist it is, it's very attacker-sided in my opinion.
Okay, can they break their way through? Yak, who has once again played or tried to play against this, hit by the stun though. They're not messing around this time. Outsiders do it a good 2 minutes faster, pretty much, than what they did it before. A quick play there of Nath, buys himself a second to get the reinforcement down, and that is bathroom locked, and he gives himself just a little bit more clarity and parity over anyone that might try and swing around from that jacuzzi side. You can see Rask is setting themselves up underneath. The play of the grenades could be huge here. They've been able to pick off players before. with that momentum, and it looks like they want to try and do that once again. If they can isolate that Chowers player, then suddenly they have a little bit more room to work with, and also the pressure that can come around from the stairs itself.
They need to find good utility out of these 2 grenades on the side of Rask. He only has 2 because of the composition. Pasha's preferring, to run the Sophia rather than the Ayana. They need to find 2 kills, otherwise this is a lot of time and utility investment wasted in Rask, and that's the one problem that it's been for Outsiders. It looks like he's going to attempt, with a yellow ping coming out, the first up nade. Looks like he's actually going to use his gun first. Is he going to nade through that hole?
I think he's trying to nade through the hole.
Yeah, looks like he will be. Both Yak and Nafe are inside the bathroom stall as well. It's a shame a nade's not going over, given 2 flashbangs have just hit them straight in the face.
Well, there's a lot of explosions that have happened, but the most important one is that the wall got partially opened there. No one was intently caught, but you're trying to make that angle uncomfortable to play, which has been done. Rask still has a bit of power underneath, and you can now see they're trying to funnel them some pressure here towards Nath, but it's Blur that opens it up, and that's retaking the control underneath. There's a very quick pick back there. Pasha, I think, got a little bit gifted of the rotation there, and now they're going to try and put pressure onto the site. Blur finds Milon, though, doing everything he can to keep some of this control into his favor, pulling himself a little bit further back around the corner, tucked in, and FMX has driven himself down towards the tuck-in wall here, has the kit in pocket, and 30 seconds, and now no blood in his bones. There's a pickup, another team kill, and another Navi round.
And that's 5-1 once again. I think sloppy from Navi. They lost a couple of lives, to be honest, but then Outsiders can't help but cause chaos for themselves with 20 seconds left, force and execute for themselves with 20 seconds left, and that's the second time that we've seen a team kill coming out in that chaos in the 20 seconds left. And Outsiders, they've really got to sort them attacks out. They're going 5-1, 1-5 down going into their defense of Clubhouse. You've got to fancy that Navi will have some serious confidence here.
I think that's it as well, and we've highlighted it, and it's seemingly the thing I repeat at the end of every single round is they're getting these little moments and they're able to make them work for them. How many Navi rounds here have been sort of late execute? Pretty much all of them. How many of them have been clutch situations? Most of them. 2 rounds have been team kills when they're on the execute here from Outsiders.
Yeah, it's not ideal. It's far from ideal, and I think this is the start of why we saw Outsiders ban it away simply in the whole of stage 1 this map, because whilst they did get run BDS close on that, what we've got to remember is that BDS actually lost like 2 or 3 rounds from doing that same thing, from peaking when they didn't need to. I wouldn't say Outsiders went away and won them, and they haven't gone away and won most of these rounds. Even that first round that they won, I put down to Navi significantly over peaking. Navi could be 6-0 up here.
They could, and I guess that breaks away from the role of everybody here. It just feels like Outsiders keep stumbling under their own guns, and the barrels are just blocking their own sight on the site itself. But it's a game of 2 halves, Jack.
It absolutely is. I've seen bigger comebacks than a 5-1 comeback.
You've seen bigger losses from Navi's side as well.
Yeah, they conceded 6 rounds in a row when they had to attack last week onto Wolves. So we know that they've got their own issues attacking. It's just whether they can manage to find at least 2 sites and get this map over the line. They've got the breach over on the west side, and then have rotated most players over to the east side, working together to clear out Pasha and Milon. Now BDS, Shaiko, they managed to get great success because Pasha played this position super passively, and Milon was basically a sitting duck. Smash left him to die as well. So they need to be careful, and they need to protect Milon at all costs this time.
Oh, Skiddy, how bold are you? Kind of feeling it right now. Just takes care of some of those discs in a tucked in position. Now you might be able to bounce the grenade. It's going to come down to the burn of the flash. There's the grenade onto the rotate. The second, just going to be cooked towards the top of the stairs. Pasha, he's caught out there. It was actually a spray, though. Was able to find Skiddy, but Blur doubles down. Make sure they keep the advantage. Now they funnel over the top of red. Rask, he's trying to offer some fight back onto it, and obviously the site is on the far side anyway. There's still a lot of work for them left to do, but getting the opener here. Skiddy being able to find their way through both the catches of grenades. Milon not really with a safe route out, as Blur finds one more tucked in on a close angle, and a 4 versus 2 final push. Obviously, Jacuzzi is still open. There isn't the most comfortable places for them to play, and with over a minute left, a lot of time left for Navi.
Navi have significantly done their homework, because this is the exact same strat that Outsiders ran 2 or 3 times and got punished 2 or 3 times against BDS. No real adaptation apart from Smash trying to get a little bit more aggressive, but Blair was ready for that, had 2 kills from the bullet hole, and now they've got it all to do in 2v4s. They might have to get a little bit more aggressive. The Valkyrie information could potentially save them, because Rask, FMX, they're going to have to get aggressive to try and even up this man disadvantage.
Well, little scratches and sprays around onto the bed. It's a bit of a risk here, and Blur's done well so far. Rask, once again, finding themselves playing a bit with no health and even less. There it is. Na'Vi, sitting on map point. I assume attack timeout's about to come from the Russian team, because at this rate, they will have no other time to use it.
They would just... You've got to. Surely you've got to. I mean... Every point counts in EUL, and Outsiders, they've started off, well, they started off with an overtime loss and then a win. They're on 4 points. If they can stay in the rat race, they can just about capitalize on round, well, not on round 4, to get 4th place, to go to the major. Even though you're 1-6 down, you really need to fight for at least overtime. So I'm so surprised not to see a tactical timeout come out of them. At least discuss it. What's going wrong? What's gone wrong? This game's probably gone for them, but you need to try and take every single round one at a time. And then if you can resemble getting back to overtime, you will at least get yourself 1 point.
Well, apparently not.
Nope.
Apparently they're not going to take it. Apparently they're just going to try and throw themselves into it. I mean, it's a decision. Obviously, we only nearly know what's going on the comm side of their team. If they think that they can try and win one and then see if they can have the timeout after it and just try and break that, it's sometimes what teams do. It's a gamble, and you got to have the confidence that this is the hold that's going to work for you, because going into that team talk on the back of a win does give you extra stuff to work with. But at the same time, you know, it's a gamble. It's always that risk. It's that roll of the dice and hoping that you can try and lock this out. Because to be fair, as you said, Na'Vi have done their homework on that take.
Yeah, they very clearly have. And Navi were always a competent clubhouse team. You know, I want to say they didn't look too great on Playday 2 up against Pones, but I think they were maybe a little bit disrespectful to Pones in terms of their map choices. And then they also tried to play Cafe in a pretty unique way. And obviously we saw the way that Navi got absolutely dismantled. But get them back on a home ground map. Get them back on a 1-2-3 map where it's been seen before. It's been done before. You can't really change much of the meta on this map. And you see the end result. They look absolutely exceptional. And I want to say, Skiddy, we didn't know at the start of this game if he would, you know, if he would crumble, if he would do well. He's going 8-4. He's having the time of his life so far.
It was a bit of a rockier start. I think a couple of rounds he couldn't quite get into it, but he was at least finding aggression. And here, over the past handful of rounds, he's really drove himself in. Just getting rid of all the bobs, getting rid of the control here. They know how they want to try and apply the pressure here. They obviously still have the 2 grenades. It's a different take and approach as to the only 2 that was in the pockets of Outsiders. Navi's rolling with the 4, the more standard and appropriate, and they're going to see if they can try and drive that pressure down.
Yeah, you managing to find Thatcher, Thermite, Habana, you know, Finker and Sledge, which obviously Outsiders were running the Sophia pretty religiously, which was causing them from either a nade point of view or a hard breach point of view. Pasha will go for the impact trick, will get shot down to 1 HP as he's going for it. Great appreciation and great understanding of the environment from Blair there. Very unfortunate, actually, to not get the kill.
It's that sort of risky moment there. He was also so close. He did some of the work, but you can see the ex-Kairos still popped off. He, again, gamble and gambits in the words that seem to get thrown around right now for how Outsiders' game is going. And most of the time, it's seemingly the house is cashing out. Blur doing the busy work here over the back of the hold, making sure they get that stretch in the plant here. There's still a technical 5 versus 5. You also have Smash with the cover with those magical glasses to see if you can try and stop any of this approach. And we've seen Last Detch grabs and plays before the attempted roll of the nade there, tucked in, caught out by the disc that was just popped around onto the corner at that moment in time. The second, he's going to see if it can try and find a home, but Smash is able to live with the cover of the ADS.
Now it's time for Navi to test their execute. Which side are they going to go? Thunder's going to find an entry kill. However, Milan's going to find one back onto Nathan. It looks like they're going to go for Church Wall rather than choosing to drop the hatch. Skiddy's got all the way to the bottom of blue and needs to find this kill. Needs to find and not get traded out.
Oh, well, there it is. Pasha pops up at the right possible time. He had some damage done to him. Thunder drops and has the cover of the smoke. There's a close shotgun on this door, and, well, not for very long. There's a great take, a great bit of reaction. Just saw the side of a head there as Blur gets Milan on the far side. Pasha, low health for 3 versus 2, but Smash is able to do just enough to keep them fighting here. They've been able to have good games so far. They're trying to find the stick. They've been able to slither their way through, but look at the rotate that's coming through on the far side. 9 seconds, and there's a bit of pressure that's just going to come around from Pasha onto the opposite opposite side of pipes. Are they aware? That could be the big moment. The plant is down, and it's late sprays down either side. There's the pick up a 2 versus 1 smash. All that's left here, spraying through close to the corner. They don't need to swing out at this point. They know exactly where the player is. They know exactly where he's trying to get to, and they know the angles that they have covered here. Whether they have intel beyond that or not, they seem to know about the player that was popping that way around, but there was a lot of pre-fire that came from it. They know he has to get close, but not close enough. NAVI, well, they definitely took this game.
Yeah, they definitely did, and even on the end there, it was Outsider's turn to be the one that jumped out and moved out of position on the defense. NAVI shouldn't have won that, but Outsiders absolutely lost that round in particular. NAVI, they were absolutely excellent. They did their homework. They understood the assignment. They played together. They played